Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Jake. I just wanted to give you guys a quick little video. I had a couple people ask me this week about putting a box on the back on the rack of the CT125 or the Trail 125, whatever you call it. And I basically just wanted to show you guys how I put mine on. It's really super easy. Honda's already helped you out. So there's very little you have to do other than get the correct size bolt and drill the holes. But I want to show you just a couple of the things that I did just to make sure that nothing gets damaged and that everything is on there correctly. So let's pop this case open and let's take a look. So the case that I'm using is the Harbor Freight Apache Case. It's the 4800, so it's the extra large. It's the largest of all the ones that they make. It has 4 latches, 2 on the sides, 2 up front, and it has the little waterproof dial right there to make sure that if it starts raining, you can tighten that all the way so that it's pressurized. And then it has 2 little eye hooks here, or 2 little holes, I guess is what I meant to say, for locks, and they're metal reinforced. It's not completely metal, but it does the job and it's a good deterrent. If anybody wants to break into it, they'll find a way. So, and then this is actually really nice if you had this off the bike. This is a really solid handle and it works really well. But this is the largest of the ones that they make, and it takes up essentially the entire rack of the Trail. So let me just show you a couple different angles real quick. So I just wanted to show you what it looks like on the Trail. Like I said, it does take up almost all of the rack. So just to give you a better idea, and so you can see how it looks. It's not crazy deep. It's not big enough to put a helmet in. If it was deeper, it might be, but it's only 7 inches deep or so. And honestly, it's really useful for when I run errands, and I've really enjoyed having it. I got the idea from PSBE Adventures, so shout out to him. Check out his channel. Lots of cool stuff there, Honda Trail stuff and other motorcycles. But it's been really useful. It's really sturdy, and it does take up most of this rack, which if you're familiar with this bike, I mean, this is huge. And if you flip it open, there is like some egg carton foam up top, which I would recommend like using a double-sided adhesive to keep it in place. Mine falls down all the time. You can see there's foam on the bottom, and then I have my tool roll for when I ride, but also for when I go to work. And underneath here is how it's connected. So let's pop this foam up and let's take a look. So if we peel that back, you can see that underneath it's just the plastic bottom, and I have 4 bolts through the box with a washer under each, and this is all that's holding it on. It's crazy sturdy. You can see it rocks the bike back and forth if I grab a hold of it and shake it hard enough. Now I know some people have done it a little different and added a couple more bolts. I don't carry anything that's really heavy enough in here because it's not a big enough box. If I was carrying a bigger one or a deeper one or carrying a ton of weight, I would probably figure out a way to add a couple more bolts. I believe that there's a few more holes underneath. But let's pull these bolts out of here real quick so that you know what holes I've used and what it looks like underneath. I'm sure if you have your Trail in front of you, you can see, but I just want to show you a little handy trick that I did to prevent the rack from getting real scratched up with the box on it. I've removed all the bolts, so now we can lift this off of here. As I lift it off, just pay attention to what's underneath. It's gonna come right off. And underneath you can see that I actually used some toolbox liner. I thought that this was a really cool idea just because I'm trying to prolong the life of this paint on the rear rack. It's a rack, so it's meant to get used, but basically if I can keep it as nice as possible for as long as possible, I would be really satisfied. So anyway, I threw this on here, just cut out 4 little holes for where each of the bolts are, and just laid it down, made sure that it wasn't sticking out underneath the box because I didn't want anybody to see it and want it to look real sleek. But we can peel this up. And this is the first time I've had it off since I put the box on back in August. But you can see that it did rub right here and it rubbed right there, but no big deal. Like I said, it's a rack, it's meant to be used. But while this is up, we can take a look and I can show you that these are the 4 pre-threaded and pre-drilled, obviously, holes that Honda has provided in the rear rack to add accessories or mount stuff off of. And it's really nice right here, 2 in the center, and then these 2 outer ones that are in line with each other. And they're super useful. I mean, there's plenty of room underneath for a longer bolt. I would just watch because it can contact the toolbox right here. And you don't want to scratch your fender with something really long down below, though I think that there is a stop mounted under each of these. But basically all I did was just lay this down, lined it up. I used actually a piece of paper to figure out where in the box was going to be centered. And so then I could take my box and I could align it over the holes, if I can find it. Boom, right there. I'm aligned. And then all I had to do was take my bolts and put them through. When I did this the first time, I made sure that I greased them. I don't have any grease on hand right now, but I am gonna have this box off of here again. But for the sake of it, I just wanna show you guys how these go in. Super easy. This is an M6 bolt, I believe. I'm gonna double check that before I post this on the video. But the 2 outer ones that I have in here actually have a little crush washer on them so that I don't over tighten this and pull the washers through the box or do something worse than that. So just gonna get these all back in here. So that is all that it takes to get a box mounted on the back rack of your Honda Trail CT125. Again, this is an Apache Case 4800 XL from Harbor Freight. They're about $65. I love it for commuting. I love it for running errands. Gives me a little peace of mind because I can lock it up and because it's waterproof. I know it's not completely since I've drilled holes in it, but I'm never gonna be in water that's above that threshold, I don't think. And if I was really concerned, I would epoxy it or put something around those to essentially seal the whole thing up. But again, I'm not too worried about that for what I'm doing at the moment. But if you have any comments or suggestions of your own, make sure you drop them in the comment section below and make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. There's gonna be plenty of cool videos coming in the near future. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.